Hello everyone, welcome to MediaNama. Recently, the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, or TRAI, published a consultation paper making recommendations for regulation of online communication apps like WhatsApp, Telegram, Signal, Zoom, etc. One of the important arguments that they've made here is that online communication apps must pay telecom companies for using the infrastructure of the telecom service providers. The reasoning that they have given here is that communication platforms, online apps, and telcos provide same kind of services to the customers. Like essentially, these services are calling and messaging, and yet they are eating away at the telecom company's customer base. We have with us MediaNama founder and editor Nikhil Pahwa, who will help us make sense of this recommendation and also talk about its immediate implications. So, firstly, Nikhil, why are telecom operators keen on charging a network fee on online communication apps?
Thanks, Ashwati. Look, this is a really old issue. I was at a TRI discussion on August 8, 2014, where the then tried chairman Rahul Khodar basically said that telecom operators should have some sort of a arrangement with online services so that telcos don't keep coming to try asking them to get online services to pay them. This issue started when I think in my mind when WhatsApp was sold for 19 odd billion dollars to Facebook, and that valuation was bigger than Airtel, right? And Airtel has been leading this issue for the longest time. And even though the TRA had a differential pricing ruling which banned, this forcing of telecom operators to, forcing of online services to pay telcos, they've kept asking for it in every single subsequent consultation. Look, telecom operators uh, don't have a leg to stand on as far as I'm concerned. When you look at Airtel's business, and Airtel is the primary one arguing for this. If you look at Airtel's business, their ARPU has broadly remained the same between 2016 and 2023. Their voice minutes have increased by 3.6 times. Their voice usage per customer per month has increased by 2.7 times. The total MBs on network have increased by 9.7 times. That's all operational. But from a business perspective, Airtel now makes 5.23 times more revenue this year than it did in 2016. They make 6.5 times EBITDA profit, which is the usual measure for profit for a telco. 6.5 times profit as compared to 2016. And EBITDA by total revenue, which is how profitable are you? Their profitability is now at 52%. In 2016, it was 41.4%. So, for all measures, when you look at it, financial measures, Airtel has actually done better. They may have more debt because they've had to build out a network, but that gets amortized over a period of time. Now, telcos are saying that these services are bandwidth hogging, and that they are cannibalizing on telco services. So first, let's address the bandwidth hogging argument. Online services are consumed because people like you and me want to use them. We pay telecom operators for using these services, right? They're on the internet.
Right.
The telecom operator is not a service provider to us except for internet access. The services are on the internet. So the telcos are already getting paid. The more we use bandwidth hogging services, the more money telecom operators make. They make more. They make money per GB, literally, right? Secondly, they say that online services are cannibalizing their revenue. That's an argument that has been made since 2013. When you look at Airtel's numbers, everything is increased. Many times the revenue, many times the profit, much better profitability. What cannibalization? There has been substitution for what? Internet usage has substituted messaging and calling. And now telcos make more money with internet users than they ever did with just calling and messaging. So they really don't have a basis for saying that they should that these services are cannibalizing revenue when their revenues have gone up. The other thing that they're saying is that that they should pay a network usage fee. and that these services are free riding on the network. There is no such thing as free riding. So how the internet works is, let's say I run a website, right? I pay my ISP. I have a server, which is a computer on which my website is hosted. I pay my ISP an annual fee for hosting plus bandwidth. So I'm actually paying for bandwidth. And when
Correct.
bandwidth goes up beyond a level, or if I need more RAM for processing, I have to pay more. So I'm already paying my immediate ISP money for allowing my site to be accessed on the internet. And then it goes from network to network to network. Let's say you try and access my site. It goes, you pay your immediate ISP to then access the internet, which will allow you to access my site. So if I have to pay my immediate ISP and I have to pay your ISP, let's say Airtel, then I'm actually double paying. So
Hmm.
that doesn't make sense. So it's not that anyone is free riding, people are paying. They're just not, the way the internet works is you only pay your immediate ISP. So
Right.
this argument is actually completely flawed. The other demand or suggestion that's coming in from telcos is that online services should pay for the USO fund. Now, this is
Hmm.
an interesting one. USO fund is supposed to help improve internet, to improve infrastructure in India. But the fact is, a vast majority of the USO fund hasn't even been deployed. As consumers, we have been paying telecom operators money that has been allocated to the USO fund. So telecom operators have to pay a percentage of the money that they make to USO fund.
Hmm.
Many messaging services are free. We don't pay WhatsApp. We don't pay Signal. We don't pay for Gmail, right? So what money will they allocate to the USO fund? Number one. Number two, um, telecom operators are exclusive providers of internet access. They have spectrum, they have license, and they make a disproportionately large amount of money and profit by providing internet access. They pay for the USO fund as a function of their exclusivity. There is no
Hmm.
exclusivity on the internet. Today there's WhatsApp, tomorrow there's Signal. Anyone can set up a messaging app online. So it's infinite competition. There's no regulatory exclusivity. So why should they pay? They're not licensing, they're not taking a license from the Indian government. In fact, they shouldn't be licensed because that will in fact restrict competition in messaging. So,
Hmm.
frankly, the telcos have been making the same arguments over the years. None of these arguments make sense. But we know because they are rent seeking by nature, they will keep trying to extract every penny and trying to attack and to get money from other. They want to convert online services into vendors of telecom operators like they did with VAS. So they will keep asking, and the TRI will keep doing consultations. If this comes through, it's going to basically undo all the positive work that the TRAI did in 2015 with net neutrality, and it shouldn't happen.
So you've mentioned net neutrality. I would like you to speak something about how this move will in fact have an impact on net neutrality. What will be the implications of it?
So net neutrality is based on three basic principles that we look at. Number one, all apps should be accessible on the internet
Hmm.
without discrimination. Number two, there should be no discrimination in terms of how much users pay to access a particular service in terms of data prices. So if you have a data pack, it should have same pricing should apply to everything. Number three, all users, if they have forgotten the third principle to be honest, but I think it is that so one is accessibility, the speeds. Third is all apps should be accessible at the same speed, so there shouldn't be any speeding up or slowing down of services. Right now, the internet treats all users as equal. Today, I may be a consumer of WhatsApp. Tomorrow, I could be a competitor. Any user can start an app. I may be an OTT service provider today in terms of streaming services. Tomorrow, I might shut that down and just be a consumer. So anyone can start an app, anyone can start a service. That's the nature of the internet. And we all compete on an equal footing when it comes to internet access. So if any single user has to pay a network fee to a telecom operator, that is actually means that you're not treating anyone, all of them equally. So the network is not neutral. You're forcing one entity to pay, you're allowing another entity to be free. So net neutrality means that there should be no fees on any single service that is discriminatory in nature, which is different from what anyone else has to pay. So either all apps have to pay for internet pay network fees, which they already do because they pay to their immediate ISP, and there should be no double charging. So it's a violation of net neutrality because you're saying, let's say, uh, Gmail is going to pay extra for users to be able to to a telecom operator for users to be able to access Gmail. That's a violation of net neutrality. So network fees are essentially a net neutrality violation.
Yeah, and ultimately it ends up affecting the end user
Well,
mainly.
yes, because the thing is that, let's say, there are billions of apps in the world. Some apps will choose not to serve a market just because of the inconvenience of having to go and negotiate with multiple operators. Other problem is, if I have to pay network, if I'm an app and I have to pay network fees, and I think, okay, I'm more aligned towards Jio's consumers and less inclined towards Vodafone idea, V's consumers, right?
Hmm.
So I will not pay a network fee to V, but I will pay a network fee to Jio. In that situation, you will have differential access, as some users will only be able to access the service if it's available on Jio's network and not
Hmm.
on these networks, which is again a net neutrality issue. So
Right.
that kind of discrimination will mean that all of us don't have access to the same internet. There'll be a Jio internet, there'll be
Correct.
an Airtel internet, there'll be a V internet, there'll be a BSNL internet, and that's fundamentally against the idea of the internet, which is an interconnection of networks that is available to everyone.
Correct. Right. So, what's the approach of other countries when it comes to network fee for online apps?
So there is a network fee that is applicable in South Korea, and I think that's pretty much the only jurisdiction where this has happened. It was imposed on Netflix, and the idea was that Netflix is maybe, I think, what, 15% or a substantial percentage of traffic being consumed in South Korea. Now, that's a telecom operator way of looking at things. From a consumer standpoint, what it indicates is consumers are essentially want more of Netflix in South Korea. So
Hmm.
that there is a law that basically forces Netflix to pay ISPs there. There is also a consultation that's taking place in the EU, again on the same issue, because telecom operators see what's happening in one country and then they copy paste and try and get the same thing to happen in their country, which is the push in India as well that they're trying to make that happen.
Hmm.
So across the world, I think this is a negative development, and I don't think it should be happening.
Thanks, Nikhil. So that was all about network fee and net neutrality. MediaNama team has done an in-depth coverage of the TRI consultation paper, and we had also held a conference in Delhi to discuss the paper at length. Click on the link below this video to read our stories of the event and also to follow our website for more tech policy updates. Thanks.